Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today, we are talking about something that every English learner encounters and that can feel very mysterious at first: active and passive voice. These are two different ways of constructing a sentence that both describe the same action but from very different perspectives. And knowing how to use both of them gives you enormous power and flexibility in your English.
Yes, and I think what makes this topic so interesting is that it isn't just a grammar rule. The choice between active and passive voice is actually a choice about emphasis, about perspective, and about what information you want to put at the center of your sentence. Once you understand that idea, everything else about active and passive voice becomes logical.
The two structures today are active voice and passive voice. Let us start with active voice since it's the more common and more fundamental one.
Active voice is the default way of constructing a sentence in English. In an active sentence, the subject is the person or thing doing the action. The subject acts. The verb describes what the subject does, and the object receives the action.
The dog bit the man. The dog is the subject. It is doing the action. Bit is the verb. The man is the object. He is receiving the action. Subject does the action to the object. That is active voice.
She wrote the report. She is the subject doing the writing. The report is the object receiving the writing. Active voice.
The chef prepared the meal. The chef is the subject. Prepared is the action. The meal is the object. Active voice.
Active voice is direct, clear, and energetic. The reader knows immediately who is doing what. It's the natural voice of storytelling, conversation, and most everyday communication.
Now let's talk about passive voice. In passive voice, the object from the active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence, and the person or thing that performs the action either moves to the end of the sentence introduced by, or disappears entirely.
The man was bitten by the dog. The man is now the subject, but the man is not doing anything. The man is receiving the action. The dog moved to the end introduced by. The structure is subject plus was or were plus past participle plus by plus the agent.
The report was written by her. The report is the new subject. Written is the past participle. By her tells us who did it. Passive voice.
The meal was prepared by the chef. The meal is the subject. Prepared is the past participle. By the chef tells us who did it. Passive voice.
So the key formula for passive voice is a form of to be plus the past participle of the main verb. Was bitten, was written, was prepared. Is made, are sold, have been completed, will be delivered. The form of to be changes depending on the tense. The past participle stays the same.
Let me show you the passive across different tenses so it feels concrete. Present simple passive. The shop is closed every evening. Past simple passive. The window was broken. Present perfect passive. The report has been submitted. Future passive. The package will be delivered tomorrow. Continuous passive. The building is being renovated.
In every case, you have a form of to be followed by the past participle. Is closed, was broken, has been submitted, will be delivered, is being renovated.
Now, let us talk about when to use passive voice, because this is what makes the difference between using it skillfully and using it confusingly.
The first reason to use passive voice is when you do not know who did the action. The window was broken. Nobody knows who broke it. There is no agent to name, so the passive is the natural choice.
The second reason is when who did the action is obvious and doesn't need to be stated. He was arrested last night. Arrested by whom? The police, obviously. Everyone knows this. Saying he was arrested by the police is redundant. The passive without the agent is cleaner.
The third reason is when you want to emphasize the action or the result rather than the person who did it. The vaccine was developed in record time. The development is the important thing. Who developed it is secondary or already known.
The fourth reason is in formal, scientific, and academic writing. The passive voice is very commonly used in these contexts because it creates an impersonal, objective tone. The samples were tested, the results were recorded, the hypothesis was supported. The focus is on the process, not the people doing it.
The fifth reason is when you deliberately want to avoid naming who did something. This can be done for diplomatic reasons or to avoid blame. Mistakes were made. Passive hides who made the mistakes. The letter was sent to the wrong address. Passive doesn't say who sent it.
The sixth reason is when the object of the active sentence is more important or more interesting as a topic of conversation than the subject. The Eiffel Tower was designed by Gustave Eiffel. The Eiffel Tower is the topic of the conversation. By putting it first as the subject, the sentence prioritizes the most interesting information.
Now, let me compare active and passive in the same scenario to show how the emphasis shifts.
The manager approved the proposal. Active. We know immediately the manager acted. The focus is on the manager.
The proposal was approved by the manager. Passive. The proposal is now the focus. The manager comes at the end as secondary information.
The proposal was approved. Passive. Without the agent. The approval is the focus. Who approved it is not stated or not important.
All three sentences give us information, but they emphasize different things and suit different contexts.
Now, let me also talk about when not to use passive voice, because overusing it is one of the most common problems in English writing.
The passive voice becomes a problem when it makes sentences unnecessarily complicated and indirect. When active voice would be clearer, simpler, and more natural, the passive should be avoided.
A good general rule for most writing and speaking is to prefer active voice and use passive voice only when you have a specific reason for it, one of the reasons we listed above.
If you find yourself writing page after page of passive sentences, the reader will feel the text is heavy and impersonal. Mix active and passive purposefully. Now, let me also talk about how to transform a sentence from active to passive and back, because knowing this transformation makes you much more flexible.
To change from active to passive, step 1, take the object of the active sentence and make it the new subject. Step 2, use the correct form of to be for the tense of the original verb. Step 3, use the past participle of the main verb. Step 4, add by plus the original subject if you want to keep that information.
Active. The teacher explains the lesson. Passive. The lesson is explained by the teacher. Is for present tense. Explains becomes is explained. Active. They delivered the package. Passive. The package was delivered. Was for past tense. Delivered becomes was delivered. By them can be added but is often omitted. Active. Someone will announce the results tomorrow. Passive. The results will be announced tomorrow. Will be for future. Announce becomes will be announced. By someone is omitted because it's vague. Now let me talk about get passive, because this is a very common structure in spoken English that learners sometimes do not know about.
Get passive uses get instead of to be. She got promoted last month. The car got damaged in the accident. He got fired. I got confused. Get passive is more informal and more conversational than be passive.
He was fired is be passive, formal. He got fired is get passive, casual and spoken.
Get passive is very common in everyday speech, and learners should know both forms. Recognize be passive in formal writing and academic texts. Use and recognize get passive in casual conversation.
Now let us go through the most common mistakes learners make with active and passive voice.
Mistake number 1 is forming the passive incorrectly by forgetting the past participle, saying the car was damaged instead of the car was damaged. The passive requires a form of to be plus the past participle, not the base form.
Mistake number 2 is using the wrong form of to be for the tense, saying the report is submitted yesterday instead of the report was submitted yesterday. Past tense passive needs was or were, not is or are.
Mistake number 3 is overusing the passive voice in situations where active voice is more natural and clearer. Writing, "A letter was written by me to her," instead of "I wrote her a letter." Active is simpler and better here.
Mistake number 4 is using the passive without realizing the by phrase is optional, feeling that you must always include the by phrase. The window was broken by someone. Better to say the window was broken if you do not know who or if it does not matter.
Mistake number 5 is not knowing when the passive is actually appropriate, avoiding passive voice entirely because it seems complicated, and then writing a natural English in contexts like scientific writing, where passive is expected.
Mistake number 6 is confusing past tense active with passive. The teacher taught the lesson is past tense active. The lesson was taught is passive. Some learners see was and think past tense, rather than recognizing it as part of the passive structure.
Mistake number 7 is not knowing the get passive in informal speech, saying she received a promotion instead of she got promoted in a casual conversation. Both are correct, but got promoted sounds much more natural in everyday speech.
Now let us do a practice round. I will give you a sentence and you tell me whether it is active or passive. Then I will ask you to transform it.
Ready.
The students completed the assignment.
Active. The students are the subject doing the action. To make it passive, the assignment was completed by the students.
The bridge was built in 1965.
Passive. The bridge is the subject, but it did not do the building. Active version would be, they built the bridge in 1965, or workers built the bridge in 1965.
The company will launch the new product next month.
Active. The company is the subject doing the launching. Passive version would be, the new product will be launched next month.
English is spoken in over 50 countries.
Passive. English is the subject, but English does not speak itself. People speak English. Active would be, people speak English in over 50 countries, but the passive is better here because the focus is on English, not on the speakers.
The chef has prepared a special menu for the evening.
Active. The chef is the subject doing the action. Passive would be, a special menu has been prepared for the evening.
3 employees were let go last week.
Passive. The employees received the action. Active would be, the company let 3 employees go last week. But the passive is natural here because the important information is about the employees, not who let them go.
She got promoted to regional manager.
Get passive. Informal and natural. Be passive version would be, she was promoted to regional manager. Both are correct, but get passive is more conversational in everyday speech.
The scientist discovered the new species in 2019.
Active. The scientist is the subject doing the discovering. Passive would be, the new species was discovered in 2019. The passive version would be preferred in a scientific report because it focuses on the discovery, not the scientist.
You handled every one of those perfectly.
And listeners, I hope you were working through each one and noticing both the form and the reason. Active when the doer is important, passive when the receiver is more important, or when the doer is unknown, obvious, or better left unstated.
Now, let me close with something that I think will make everything we covered today feel like a complete picture.
Please.
Active and passive voice are 2 tools, not 2 rules where one is right and one is wrong. Skilled writers and speakers use both tools purposefully. Active voice for energy, clarity, and directness. Passive voice for emphasis on results, objectivity, diplomatic vagueness, or when the doer is unknown or unimportant.
The goal is not to eliminate the passive from your English. The goal is to use it intentionally when it serves a purpose and to prefer the active when it does not.
And now you have the knowledge to make that choice consciously. You understand what each voice does, when each one belongs, and how to move between them. That's a real and significant skill.
Notice active and passive voice in everything you read and listen to. Scientific articles, news reports, formal emails, casual conversations. The more you notice how writers and speakers choose between them, the more natural your own choices will become.
Thank you so much for being here today. We hope active and passive voice feel completely clear and that you feel genuinely ready to use both of them with purpose and confidence.
Keep going, and we'll see you in the next episode.